apologize for all my hackneyed phrases because I know it's somewhat annoying. But hey, if I was good at this, I'd be doing it for a real living instead of just a necessity. Anyway, how do I find ideas, and how do I apply technology to these ideas? I kind of know what I want to do, but I really don't know how to do it, and that's what this lecture is about. And so there are different techniques you can use to do this, and we'll be going over that today. And so when we look at technology, essentially what it starts out with is an invention, and that invention becomes a technology. The technology becomes an innovation, and that innovation drives products and services. And so to give you an example, what about the integrated circuit? The integrated circuit you could turn into things like logic or memory, and subsequently those functions like logic and memory lead to things like computing or making instruments that are small and portable. And that's what I combine together to come up with a product or service like a cell phone. Now in terms of technology, remember, it's about making it better than us. And so what we're really talking about is, in terms of electrical engineering, is that it's about our brain and senses. That this is what electronics is supposed to mimic, how we go about computing. Mechanical engineering is about our body and movement. And so we can pretty much mimic anything that physically moves. You're a walking chemical reactor, and that's what chemistry is about. And so how do we create those kind of systems? And finally, software, and that's how do we actually go about doing processing and making decisions on how we go about doing that. And so in terms of what people value in my idea, people value three things. They value money, how much it costs. We care about how products make us feel and how useful they're going to be to us. Whatever the product is, it's got to fall in at least one of those categories, and it's got to be significant. Here's the framework of using technology. The viewpoint of what you're interested in a product is driven from here. The first is, what if I'm interested in a specific technology like blockchain? What I need to do is look at either the push in the market, the pull, the trend, or the types. Push being that there's always demand for like a new and better drug. So you don't need to go out and do market research or whatever. You can just push it out there. Pull is the things that the market always wants, like home care solutions. What's trending right now? And is there a specific type of technology that people are always interested in, like networks and platforms? You can use it from a marketing point of view. If I'm doing it from a marketing point of view, then I'm interested in gaps, niches, and differentiation. Or how am I going to compete against someone else? When Southwest came out, there were lots of airlines out there, so was it insane to do that? Well, they figured out how they were going to compete. Offering is what's already offered in the market, and you're going to do it better than they currently do it. And now you're talking about the product, the market's in, or operations. And context are those events that are happening in the world that you can take advantage of, that things are changing or things people want. Yes, you're going to make the world a better place. The point of view that you look at products are typically either bottoms up or top down. Top down meaning you're a solution looking for a problem. And that means like you have a technology or something like that. Bottoms up means you have a problem and you're looking for a solution. And typically that's the traditional marketing where you go out and find out what people want and what they need. The value chain is especially useful for this because you use the value chain to be able to analyze. It's a tool to analyze how businesses operate. And so that's the way you find the opportunity. The thing is, there are some things in technology. Yeah, I say the thing is a lot. Sorry about that. But anyway, technology has some areas where opportunity never ends. And one is in data. We always need more data. The problem with technology is it's just too damn complex. However, there's always an opportunity in services because the more complex it becomes, the more people don't want to do it. Let's bring in an expert. I'm not going to deal with it. Security, the big human push in the future is going to be about food, air, and water. And naturally we're getting older, so we want better health, better quality of life. This slide is about the markets that are trending. They're pretty self-explanatory. I'll just go ahead and let you read those for yourself. And the question is about the timing of a product. When is a product before its time? And there are plenty of good ideas, but the timing just may not be right. LiveJournal actually came out way before Facebook did. The problem is LiveJournal, they were so limited in bandwidth. You know, you couldn't do more than just post some words and that was it. Steve Jobs, of all people, roasted web TV because he said the experience between TV and a computer are totally different. Well, now they're merged. And for the simple reason, it's because the computer became an instrument for entertainment, and that's what we use TV primarily for. X-Band. In the age of dial-up, can you imagine trying to do multi-gamer with different people on a headset? It's like people would say, shoot, shoot, but you wouldn't get the message until like 20 minutes later because you were on dial-up, so that didn't work very well. Nintendo Power Glove, too big and heavy. It's finally when they started using my gyroscope that they were able to come up with the real product. The Palm Treo was the first smartphone long before the iPhone. And the problem with the Palm Treo, well, besides its display needed to be bigger, is the biggest problem with the Palm Treo is that people weren't ready to start doing business type stuff on their phone. And so there needed to be an intermediate step before you got to the smartphone. And that intermediate step was the BlackBerry. They demonstrated that people wanted to read emails on their phones and all. And Microsoft actually did this, the smartwatch long before Samsung or iWatch did it. And the problem is they tried to do it through the phone services and it was too slow. And that's the big thing. You need ecosystem. The question is does the technology exist to support your product? For example, Microsoft. It took 10 years to get Windows. And part of the problem is because there wasn't enough processor speed and there wasn't enough RAM. And there are a boatload of people who had great ideas, but they were too early before its time. And so you need to look at things like infrastructure. Is the display good enough for what you want to do? That's one of the big problems with these computing watches. The displays are too small. You're limited in what you can do. And so these are the issues that you need to handle. So summarizing, the topic areas that if I have a technology and I want to find an opportunity for it, I can look at the tech that's out there that's always looking for new technology, the trends, or the pull from the market. And these are the places you can look to learn about these things, whether it's in the news, trade articles. And supposing I want to do a network or a platform, well, the big thing is can I figure out how many users I can get, because the power of my network goes up n squared. For example, what's the value of one cell phone? 0. You got nobody to talk to. The load limits, the drivers of the type of application. For example, Uber is a two-sided market. I need a driver and a customer. So I need to recruit two types of people. Can I get externalities, which is other people using the network basically create value for others? And how do I reach critical mass? And that's typically 10 to 15% of your market, as all the 310 students know. When you look at how the power grows in a network or a platform, is that the price goes up and then down, and then you get more customers. And that's the early customers. If you drop the price too early, you're not going to get that growth because people don't really know who you are. And that's the thing. You need to reach that tipping point where you can grow. So what are the impacts that technology can have? It can make things scalable. It can improve it. It can make it customizable. You can disintermediate markets. And also, you can decentralize them. For example, before the internet, the French actually had the internet that went over phone lines. The problem is that it wasn't decentralized. Everything had to go through a central network. And that slowed it down, and people didn't like it. The internet is decentralized. There is no central custom point of the internet, and that's why it's so powerful. So in terms of, to give you an example of the tech framework, supposing I have a new metal that can cause that'll allow batteries to charge at only 1/4 the time. And so this is about a technology. So I look at push, pull, trend, and types. And one of the big trends right now is a move to electric cars. More than cell phones, the electric car just takes too long to charge up. And so the more you can decrease that time, the better it is for that. Not only that, you can charge a lot more money. And so now what I do is I go do my research. I figure out what value is it going to link to. In this case, it's going to be economic, and it's also going to be utility. My second approach of looking for opportunity is I look at the market first, and then I see how technology can apply. And so in terms of the market, what am I talking about? I'm talking about gaps, niches, and pain. And you've probably covered this a lot in your other classes, so I won't go over this. For example, if I want to look for gaps, one of the easiest ways is looking for markets being deregulated, because the rules have totally changed. Another way of looking at it from a market point of view is, what do you do that's exceptional, can make a sustaining profit, and it's difficult to copy? And so what it is I'm either centered on price, product, or I know the customer better than anybody else. What about this whole person-to-person thing? Is this really a revolution, or is it just disintermediation part 2? And applications like Uber or Bitcoin or whatever, I'm removing the middleman and going to business for myself. And there are a lot of middlemen industries out there right now, and one thing that's primed to go is real estate. Everybody looks up their houses by themselves online. Why do I need a realtor other than to set up visits? But the big thing you have to be careful about when you look at these kind of opportunities is regulatory. Are there laws in place to stop you from doing it? And so to learn the rest about this lecture, you can watch part 2.